Hey guys, need to call a quick time out here. Wanted to tell your listeners what I've been telling my listeners over at OU Didn't Know for a while now about all the cool things happening over at adsfreeshows.com.
An all-new Mailbag series debuts later this month on ad-free shows as we pick the brain of a man who has spent 40-plus years in the wrestling business. Longtime WCW and WWE referee Nick Patrick answers your questions.
And Kurt Angle, where you get here on it? Or me on the other? It ended up being my own blood. Austin had the title. It had those jagged edges on it, right? And they had a deal where Angle pulled me in, and I took the belt shot.
A little bonus content comes your way, courtesy of The Kurt Angle Show. A dream match became a reality back in 2016 as Kurt Angle squared off against Cody Rhodes on the Independents. For the first time, Kurt watches back his match against the American Nightmare.
This kid's really talented.
He's selling the ankle here on the leapfrog, went down on it awkwardly. He's outside the ring talking to the referee. This is, like you said, all part of the match plan. Hey, start to show that weakness in the ankle.
Yeah. This was his idea to make it look like he hurt his ankle so that when he did lose,
I
he
love
had
it.
something to gripe about.
Ad-free show members have chatted one-on-one with AEW stars like Eddie Kingston, Dax Harwood, Ricky Starks, and many more, including a recent live interactive session with Renee Paquette.
He still continues to do that. He's on commentary in AEW. I think it was cool for him to kind of put on that analyst hat and get to kind of test out those waters a little bit. But end of the day, it was a thing that I think made him feel like, you know what, wrestling can be okay again. I can have fun in the wrestling space again. And now we have CM Punk wrestling. So you're welcome.
That's just a small taste of what we got waiting for you. With 4 levels to choose from, see for yourself why Ads-Free Shows is the best value in wrestling today. Sign up now at adsfreeshows.com.
It's that time, so come on down. We're walking in the dog pound. Rodeo double G, Dogg and Casio. Talking shop, reminiscing on a flashback. Hall of Fame name with a legacy that's long. That's the legend of the Armstrongs. Questions get answered, oh, you didn't know? Let's start the show.
Welcome back to the show. It is Road Dogg and Casio, and you're listening to...
Oh, you didn't know?
What is up?
It still amazes me how much I sound like that guy from TV.
It pops every time,
Yeah, it
baby.
pops me every time. It's crazy.
Undefeated.
It's uncanny.
Kind of like you versus Billy Gunn.
Undefeated. Yeah, Billy's good. You know what I mean? He's a good little hand. But he's not. He can't compete with me. I mean, that's apparent. You can look at those are facts. You can look at a logbook of some sort where they document the winners and losers of.
We can find it. The nerd's got that somewhere. We can find it.
Oh, it's there.
Yeah,
it's there. I can assure you he's never beaten me. He probably did beat me as when he was Rockabilly and I was the real Double J. He probably beat me sometime on a live event in Peoria, Illinois. I was under the weather. I was sick. Hey, but I'm excited about today. I'm excited about today because we don't have a whole lot of guests on here. But we got one on here today. What do you want to say about him?
Look,
Because he can probably hear you.
Can he? Then I'll change it. No, I'm just kidding. As a fan, one of my faves. Of course, I was a WCW mark for a long time, and so man.
What kind of mark are you now?
A Road Dogg mark.
Yeah. Thank
mark.
you.
Yeah.
Your flattery will get you everywhere, sir.
Yes, it will. This is one of the staples, my friend, of the best era of wrestling, in my opinion, and we are excited. I can't wait. I'm just a fly on the wall. I feel like you guys are going to share stories galore.
Yep.
And we got some positive news that you guys can relate to in your life. So we'll get to that as well. So without further ado.
I have no idea what you're talking about there. So if you spring something on me about I got another kid or something, then we are, me and you are done.
I heard maybe he owns goats too, and maybe they just had babies. We'll find out. Okay. Let's get him from backstage, ladies and gentlemen. Buff the Stuff Bagwell.
man, look at that cool background he's got. Buff, you're like top notch at this. I just put
I'm
some
like
pictures of
Batman.
you are like and you're in the bat layer right now. That's awesome, man.
Dog, we got to step our game up. Look how
We do.
good it looks.
We do. You have like pictures of the Ultimate Warrior behind you, and he's got a daggum stripper pole back there.
He's in
Like,
a
what is he?
castle.
Where's he at?
He's in a castle.
Hey, Buff, how are you, man?
Man, I'm doing fantastic, bro. Just a little over 5 months sober, man,
Wow.
and truly
Congratulations,
didn't know.
dude. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I truly, Brian, I didn't know that I could do that. I didn't know that was a possible. I didn't know it was a thing of actually being sober. And so it's been really eye-opening for me, but at the same time it's been so relieving.
Yeah.
I'm free. I'm free now,
Amen.
man. I mean, free from doctors and making sure I had enough pills to get through to the pharmacy and make
Counting
sure
them.
just the counting and I'm just free, man.
It got to be manual labor, didn't it?
Dude, it's just what happens with the addiction, but it really is. You look back at it and you just don't really realize how much of our lives and time was just engulfed into that.
Yeah. The trick is not dwelling on that, because so much of my life I feel like I threw away. You know what I mean? Due to the mind-altering substances, but I can't do anything about it. So acceptance, right? I got to accept that here I am, and I did all of those things that we talked about that we're going to talk about here in a minute. So acceptance. I gotta and perspective. Here's where I'm at, and where I'm at ain't so bad. You know what I mean?
No.
But I'm so glad that you said I didn't know, because that's what I've been saying since I got sober. Is I didn't know this kind of life was available for me. I just thought it was a handful of pills until I didn't wake up no more, and that was life. And I did all right. You know what I mean? Like that's pathetic, but. It's awesome. I don't want to go down too dark a macabre path, but talk about what you've been doing for the past 5 months.
Exactly how it came down was I had a car wreck in 2020, and it was a really bad car wreck. I went in and ran through a building and right behind Cumberland Mall in Marietta, Georgia here, and it was a really bad car wreck to where usually, like we do, we usually come out of them unscathed. This one left a mark, and it was a big one. It was my right patellar tendon on my right knee. It exploded in the car accident, which led to a surgery back in August of 2020. And from there, they tried to rebuild my patellar tendon with a gastrocnemius flap. It's a big long word, ends with flap, and which basically means they bring your calf muscle up to your knee and they rebuild your patellar tendon. And I was in a good spot when that happened, and really thought I could, fix this. It was during COVID, and I even tried to make that a positive thing, thinking, okay, COVID's happening right now, man. So let me get everything back where it needs to be, and then when COVID's over, hell, I'll be ready to go. So I took it on, ready to go with it. We had the surgery during COVID and all that. So physical therapy and all of that was during COVID.
Oh.
So getting good PT and physical therapy on my knee wasn't as good as it could be if it wasn't for COVID, because with COVID, things slowed down and the mask was going on and appointments were canceling. So truly what happened out of it was I wasn't doing the right physical therapy. Along with not doing the right physical therapy, the actual surgery just didn't go well, and I got staph out of it.
Oh.
After I got staph, I went to the hospital for 7 weeks. In that 7 weeks, I had 21 knee surgeries. 21 knee surgeries, which is every third day, they went in and did what's called a washout. And that was called a surgery. And if they're going to call it a surgery, then I'm going to call it a surgery. So 21 surgeries later, I step out thinking, okay, let's get to work now. We can do this and get back where I'm okay. and it just wouldn't get better. It just wouldn't get better. And then these 2 more wounds happened on my leg, which was now a total of 4 wounds on my injury from the injury. And they just kept getting worse. And then I just couldn't get no answers. No doctors wanted to see me until the wounds were healed. And normally Mark Bagwell he hurts it, but then I fix it. And for all of a sudden, I wasn't able to fix it this time. And I was like, what is going on? So when I can't fix it, that's not good. And that enters self-medication. And so that enters pills and alcohol and trying to fill it up with other things besides good things. I was filling it up with anything that it would take. And by doing that, it just set me back so far that Dallas and everybody else started noticing that my knee wasn't getting better and I was getting worse.
Yeah.
So I'm getting ready to, fly out of town somewhere, doing something I wasn't supposed to be doing. And Dallas had a meeting at his house. I was supposed to meet with Jonna, my niece, and Steve Yu. And I show up and it was kind of an intervention kind of setup, kind of thing. And I didn't know what was coming at me. And I think they thought I was probably going to fight them on it, and I was listening, then I was denying things, of course, denial, lying, and all that. And finally, Dallas comes over, grabs my phone. He goes, "The phone's gone, bro. And you got to go to rehab. You're leaving right this second. And if you don't go for 90 days, you're out. You're out of Jonna's life. You're out of my life. You're cut off from everybody. Your name will be horrible." And when this happened, we'd already shot. Change or Die. We had shot the beginning of the Change or Die docuseries.
Yeah.
And I was doing pretty good in that. And then when that kind of kept going is when I relapsed during Change or Die.
Yeah.
And then when the relapse happened, then that's when the intervention part happened. And they said, "Look, you got to go to rehab now."
Yeah.
So I go to Black Bear Recovery in North Georgia Mountains for 30 days. I finished that treatment center. And after about a week of that, I was in. I was like, "Hey, I'm going to do this. I'm in, man. I'm in to check it out and see what's up." And pretty quick, man, I was able to sleep when I didn't think I could ever sleep without a Xanax or I needed some kind of medication to sleep. I didn't. It was just a story you tell yourself, like Dallas always says, and it's the truth. It's a story we've always told ourselves, and we make it make sense. Like,
and
I need drugs to go to work.
That's what fear is too, right?
It's the story you tell yourself.
We make that up too. We make it up in our own head. I'm sorry
and
to cut you off. Go ahead, keep going.
And eventually you believe it.
Yeah, for sure.
You believe it. And so, that's what I do, and that's what I was doing. And then finally I did find something I could do, and it was the recovery. And out of recovery, the biggest thing with recovery is to really do something with your aftercare. After that 30 days, where the number goes up of successful is huge if you continue your aftercare after 30 days. Everybody thinks 30 days and I'm good. And I've done that before, and you're not good.
Yeah.
And I continued it on with my rehab with aftercare in a place called Tengu in Marietta. And so I graduated that on January 13th, and I'm continuing now. There's my graduation.
Look at it.
Fantastic. Yay.
You're
And
still good
so
looking.
continuing from there, 5 months sober and just sleeping good, feeling great. Something that happened yesterday seems like it was a week ago because I got so much more time on my hands.
Yeah.
When you're sober all day long, man, it's crazy how much more you get done.
How much you can get done, right? And
It's unbelievable.
I feel like I'm just now learning to compartmentalize and place one task in front of the other. And look, I still mess up. I still lose my cool sometimes. I still, the biggest thing for me is to make amends for that and clean up my side of the street and move forward. Try not to do the same thing again. But I don't know, man. It's really great to hear your voice and hear in you. Like, I don't know about you, but I went to rehab a bunch of times, and it was never the right time. When it was the right time, I didn't want to live like I was living anymore. And it's not like I wanted to die. I just didn't want to live like I was living anymore. And obviously that's my way, my thinking got me there, so I was ready to listen to someone else. Now, look, I'm not going to lie to you. I threw Xanax out in the parking lot of the rehab center, and 3 days later, I was out there looking for them. But yeah, look, moving rocks around trying to find them. But look, that was the beginning of me. Just like you said, it kind of hits. It was like, okay, maybe I am the problem. You know what I mean? And that's when I learned that. And then also when you stop caring what people think about you. You know what I mean? That's a huge weight off your shoulders too. But
Look, if there's anybody that knows anything about manscaping, it's our buddy Buff Bagwell here. But if manscaping is not what you are familiar with, you need to jump in the game. It's 2023. What are you waiting for, gentlemen? Manscaped is here for you. And I don't know if you've been watching the YouTube version of this show, but if you can see how good looking me and Dog are. And that's because, breaking news, Manscaped now sells beard products. That's right. They are once again revolutionizing men's grooming, and the brand new Beard Hedger Pro Kit. From a beard trim to a fresh shave, the technology behind the Beard Hedger Pro Kit allows you to shape your signature beard look. Now you can finally use Manscaped products to make your drapes match your carpet by going to manscaped.com and using DOGG for 20% off and free shipping. You're going to be looking right. You don't even need to call your mom in there to Manscaped for you. Now you've got it all at your fingertips. It's time to tame your mane. Worst thing I do is look in the YouTube when we're about to record and I see a little weird beard looking all weird and dry and scruffly. So it's time to say goodbye to all of your stubble trouble with Manscaped's Pro Beard Kit. The Pro Kit doesn't end there with just a regular razor. They've got it all. The blade is tough on hair, but smooth on your face, leading to single stroke efficiency that brings satisfaction one stroke at a time. Plus, they've got the 4 dermatologist-tested formulations for your post-trim care. First, there's the beard shampoo and conditioner. You need to remember, all your hair is different. Your beard hair is more coarse and easier to damage than the hair on your head, and that's why this kit has made shampoo and conditioner specially designed to moisturize, reduce ingrown hairs, replace natural oils, and promote beard health. That's right. I use that beard health. I use that conditioner. Boom. You just rub it on your hands, rub it in the beard, leave it on, and literally as the day goes by, your beard looks better. My wife immediately noticed the difference when I started using Manscaped's new beard conditioner. Plus, they've got the beard oil, an essential piece for your main facial accessory. No one wants a guy whose beard is brittle and dry. No. The oil relieves dryness both on the beard and the skin beneath, while adding a little shimmer and shine, making you look extra fine. And to cap it all off, the kit, the Beard Balm, a pomade that shapes, styles, moisturizes, and tames for a sculpted look to attract any fellows or dames. The Pro Beard Kit also comes with 3 free gifts. That's right, we are hooking you up, dog listeners. 3 free gifts: a beard brush, a comb, and scissors to ensure your beard is ready to impress. Plus, you're going to get 20% off and free shipping. That's right, 20% off and free shipping with code DOGG at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code DOG. Manscaped Beard Hedger, 1 stroke, 1 guard, 20 lengths.
But yeah, you sound so great. So what do you want to do? You're 5 months sober. You're talking about aftercare. What? And I don't mean to stay on recovery or / sobriety, but I'm interested in what you're doing. You know what I mean? Do you have a regimen? Do you have a schedule every day? How do you do it?
What I do is when I get up, every morning when I get up, I take about 15 minutes just to have a sit down period of time where I look at my Bible. I pray for the first 30 minutes of the morning. I have coffee and I pray. And I talk to God about what my day is ahead of me. And the one thing I did learn in rehab at Black Bear, they gave me so many great tools. And one of the tools was just for today.
Amen.
Just for today. So I look at every morning, just for today. Today, I had to be here at 5:30 to do a podcast with Road Dogg. And that's how you look at it. You look at it just for the day. And before you know it, it's been 5 months. So going back just to today, I line my day up from that. When you get up in the morning and you start off your morning like that, you're putting on a shield. You're putting on your bulletproof vest. That's how I feel, that you're getting ready for that day. No matter what that day comes at you out of that day, you're ready to face it, because now you've got your day ready. You've got your mindset on, and you're ready to face whatever comes at you with the tools you've been given. And my tools I've been given are things like breathing. Breathing for everybody. We've always heard take a breath, but nobody really knows what take a breath really means.
Yeah, it doesn't
And
make
nobody really
sense.
knows
You're like
what
breathing.
really
I'm breathing now.
Right. Think about, you don't ever put your mind on breathing, but if you do and you make it a mindful thought, breathing is absolutely amazing, right?
Yeah.
We got to have oxygen and we got to breathe. But if you put your mind on it, it relieves stress and anxiety medically. That's a medical way that it does. And it's instantly going to make you go from here to here.
Yeah, and it just makes you be present. You know what I mean? That's the thing. It's just, I'm just right here, right now. And man, I got to be honest with you, Buff. I don't know. You know, I got kids, man, and I got grandkids, and I missed a lot of my children's lives because when I was home, I wasn't present. My mind was altered, and it's not fair to them. And look, I can cry over that too, or I can make a joke and continue on and remember that was then. I know what I got to do today to never go back there again, and I'm willing to do that today. You know what I mean? You mentioned that getting on your knees and just getting my head right in the morning. I started listening to some guided meditation on an app called Headspace, and look, it's hard to sit there for 10 minutes. You know what I mean? And focus on something without my mind going in 100 different directions. So it's a struggle, but I always say it's a struggle worth having. It's a struggle worth going through, you know? Yeah, I don't know. I'm just giddy because you're so.
You're exactly right. And like with praying or talking to God, for example, I know everybody can relate to this, and that is, you start saying a prayer in the bed, and you kind of get lost, and your mind starts racing, and you just kind of forget. And one of the keys that I learned is I get out of the bed and I go to my knees on the side of the bed, and by doing that, it just dials you in a little more on really what you're trying to do, man. The idea is we should be faithful enough and grateful in our lives to be able to give the day we're having, to give God just a few minutes of your time to touch base with him. And so little at time we do that. And it's rare that people give him a few minutes, man, but he gives us 24/7. So the least we can do is give him some love in the beginning of my day to start my day out. And that just means so much to me. And it also just gets your mind ready for the day. So along with that, man, I tackle my day. I go after it one thing at a time, and I don't get overwhelmed. Amen. That's another big trigger, is getting overwhelmed. You start looking at, I'm very OCD, and I look at my notes. I keep notes and my schedule of what I got going on, and I got a calendar. And you've got to realize the balance of those two. You got to realize that you can't do all this over here and without it being balanced of, it's time to go to lunch, Mark, you got to eat. Well, I got these things to do. You don't. You got to balance it, man. So balance was the word I got given to me getting out of Black Bear recovery. And it's such a great word, and everybody can relate to balancing things. Balance is the difference of me being at WCW and not still being with the WWE because of balance. If I knew how to balance things better, you can balance from being Buff Bagwell to Marcus Alexander Bagwell, and finding the balance of life and wrestling and making it successful, like Dallas did and like Triple H did and like you've done. You balanced your life off to where, look at you're right back in that seat again. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. And I talked about this before, which is, the balance of it is making sure that you don't put too much on you, man. You got to balance it. And balance to me is such a key word.
Yeah, it is. It's to me, and I think straight people, and when I say straight people, I mean not drug addicts. I think they have it, and it's not something that they have to strive for or they have to work for. But and God bless them for it, you know what I mean? But I don't have that. I got a built-in forgetter. I got my first thought is 99% of the time wrong. You know what I mean? So I have to say, like, oh God, that's how I want to react to that. That's not good. You know what I mean? And I can have that pause when agitated. I'm not perfect at this. I'm getting better, but man, like I said earlier, I was doing it wrong. Whatever life is, I was doing it wrong. And somebody just told me a different way to do it. And I never realized that was an option. And look, I think I'm going through that. We're all going through COVID. We went through COVID. The world changed during COVID. Like nobody warned me about it. So we're all figuring it out. And so balance is very hard to find right now. And Buff, if you have it right now, man, holy mackerel, we're the battle's halfway won. You know.
Absolutely, and and also that it also comes with addiction. Comes being a follower. And being a follower, when I was raised in the family I was raised in, being a follower, man, that was a bad thing. You wanted to be a leader. I was a leader. The Bagwells were taught we were leaders. Yeah. And so when I started having to follow to be successful in sobriety and recovery, it became, I thought I was being a loser. But really, nobody's figured out the addiction thing. So I've gotten very successful in being a follower, seeing what Jake has done, seeing what Road Dogg has done in his life, seeing what other guys have done to be successful with your Dallas Pages, your Steve Hughes. You surround your people with what you want to be. You look around your friends, and I'll show you your future.
Yeah, that's you, right?
And it's the truth. Yeah. And it's kind of like you are what you eat. People take that saying and kind of blow it off, but man, you are exactly what you eat.
Yeah, and I found out today.
If you eat a bottle of pills,
I have gout.
Yeah, if you eat a bottle of pills a day, then you are a bottle of pills.
Yes, and that's what I was for a long time. You and I both. I was saying I had gout. I got told I had gout today, and I was like, "What is?" I thought he said you have clout, and I was like, "Yeah, I got some. I'm a million miler on Delta. Like I don't know what you're talking about." And he was like, "No, you have gout," and I said, "Why? What is that?" And he was like,
"Is it in your big toe?"
Yeah, it's in my big toes and my. Yeah, do you have it too?
No, but the reason I know about that is my father had that, and it's a rich man's disease.
I did not know that part.
It's a king. It's a king's thing, and my dad fancied himself on being a king, being a rich, powerful man. So it's supposedly a red meat and red wine thing. That's the truth. It's a king's deal.
So because you eat good steak, good red meat, and he said actually the rheumatologist said, what do you call it, organ meat or something like gizzards and all that, and I was like, God Almighty, that sounds disgusting, but. Yeah, so I'm like, oh great, I got that, and it's in your big toe. That's so weird when you get something, you learn so much about it. But yeah, so Casio, hop in here, ask something.
Well, look, I was excited to see y'all's face light up as soon as y'all sat down and saw each other in the camera. Buff, sometimes my partner here, Road Dogg, has a little trouble remembering some details throughout the history. So, what's your earliest memory of meeting Dogg throughout the years?
Road Dogg he was really getting very popular with WWE or WWF, let's call it like it is. It was the WWF, and we were WCW. And, I was with Brad at WCW, Brad Armstrong, and then I knew Bob, and Bob goes back with my dad, back in Marietta, Georgia with Pep James and, and Steve Bagwell, running Marietta, and fighting and, car, drive-throughs and, and car, the Tubby's drive-throughs and all that stuff, man. So it was Marietta, and it was fighting and gangs and all that stuff. So when I got into pro wrestling, Dad knew Pep James, which is Bob Armstrong. And that was a huge deal. And then Brad, being at WCW, well, I knew about Brian, and I knew those guys. Y'all went to Wheeler, and we were Sprayberry.
Yeah.
We were both Cobb County schools, but I never really had met Brian. And I guess the first time I met Brian would have been in the Independence, I think in a town, it was Mobile, Alabama, I'm pretty sure, with Dwayne Henderson.
Oh,
and
my
we were
word.
down there, and that's the first time I ever meeting him. But as soon as we met, it was like a match with gasoline. Woo!
Hey, and you don't mean that in a good way.
No sirree.
If there is a good way to mean that, you don't mean that. You know what? I
But
remember, and I don't.
instant-
Go ahead. I'm
But
sorry.
instant love, just an instant click of friendship that was off the chart, man. It was something special we had. I had a ton of heat, and Road Dogg didn't, but Road Dogg instantly saw into Mark Bagwell. He saw Mark Bagwell, and I got away with a lot of my heat because at WCW, all the guys knew Mark Bagwell.
Yeah.
So it was okay. It was like, oh, that's what Mark said. It's okay. And then all of a sudden, when it's WWF guys that never knew Mark, it was like, what the hell did he say? You know, and it was taken much differently. But Brian always overlooked that and looked at it for what it was, and I was right in front of him. And so he looked at it that way, and we got along so good because of that.
I feel like I was looking in a mirror. You know what I mean? Like it's you're from Georgia, you're a drug addict, you're a body guy. I mean, of course, I was always a body guy in my career.
Hey, maybe you've got that Buff Bagwell top hat, let's just say, and it doesn't rise to the occasion. Doesn't sit a little as high as it used to, gentlemen. Well, now is the time to call our friends Blue Chew. That's right. Blue Chew offers you the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis and Levitra for a fraction of the price and in a chewable form. They're prescribed online and shipped right to your front door. You can cancel anytime. No gimmicks, no lock-ins. Blue Chew makes getting the treatment you need affordable and discreet. No more waiting rooms. No more time-consuming doctors' in-person visits. No more judgment. Quality patient care and prescription tablets, monthly refills, and medical support, all available at BlueChew.com. If the pills haven't worked for you, Blue Chew has options for you. That's right. They deliver that confidence straight to your front door. They always say first impressions are important. What about lasting impressions? Those impressions come from BlueChew.com. If you can benefit from some extra confidence when it's time to perform, chew it and do it. Have better sex. And we've got a special deal for our dog listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code DOGG at checkout. You pay just $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code DOG to receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast.
But yeah, so what was not to love? You know what I mean? Like, so I told a story earlier today talking to a buddy of mine about we went over to, I think it was Australia. You and I and Stevie Ray went to Australia for the WWA, and when we flew overseas, they wheeled you onto the airplane in a wheelchair, and when we landed back from that, they wheeled me off the airplane in a wheelchair, and it was just like. Yeah, what in the world? And so I remember thinking, because we were in Australia when 9/11 hit. You remember that?
I remember it vividly. Do you remember is the question.
No, I do remember going, yeah, because you were the man that you were. I was definitely looking for your room. As soon as I found out we were stuck, I was like, what Marcus Bagwell, what room is he in? I think he's dying. I need to get in there.
Yeah. Well, we had gone out, and we knew that the 9/11 had happened. Excuse me, I'm sorry, 9/11 had not happened.
Yeah.
We were going home the next day, and we're all excited. We go out to we went to a club, where some dancing poles were at. We went
It's
to a
like
club
the one he's in, like the one you're in right now.
Yeah, exactly. Matter of fact, it was here. So we're flying home the next day, and we're excited and everything. And we come back, me, Stevie Ray, and Brian. We get back to my room, and we walk in. And as soon as we walk in, man, it's going on 9/11 is happening in the United States at that time. We literally are sitting there like some people were doing in the States. We're sitting there, and I don't know exactly the time change, but it was around midnight there. I think a different day, but it was the morning of here going on in the States. And we were watching the plane come out of the background going, what is that plane over there doing? And then it flew right into the building like people saw here. And we're like freaking out. What's going on? And the next day, with what happened, we knew we thought we were going to be in Australia the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't know. So we thought for sure we were not ever going home probably. And then I don't know if Brian remembers this or not, but the Prime Minister of Australia was in the United States. So it was a big deal in Australia as well, because he had to get home back to Australia. And so it made it a big deal while we were there on getting the Prime Minister back to Australia and everything. So he actually flew home on Air Force One and all that stuff. I remember seeing that, but we really thought we were going to be there for months. And so we thought, what are we going to do? And of course, I was out of medication, and you're talking about detox with withdrawals and coming off the kind of medications we were on. And it was going to be real ugly, real fast. And they tried to give us some help and had a doctor that was trying to help us, but there was no help in the kind of numbers that we were swallowing. And it was going to be a real dangerous situation. And it just ended up finally, I remember being 5 days of going through the worst withdrawals of my life. And then we flew back home to Australia. Flew from Australia back to the States.
And I had ended up scoring a bunch of crap, but never told Buff. So anyway.
I was about to say, you ended up in a wheelchair. That means somebody wasn't telling something.
I'm just kidding.
Buff's worrying about 5 days. And you're like, boy, I got so much. I got to eat it before we leave.
Dog Dr. Nicopolis from Elvis fame was over there.
The first batch that came through, I was like, this is all y'all got? This ain't going to do it.
Hey, and the truth is, Buff, look, you got to laugh at it, man. You got to laugh at it because it's.
You do. You got to know where you were at before you can fix it, man. You got to know.
And you got to go through some stuff because, look, I still got some stuff that pops up, man. That wreckage of my past, you know what I mean, will pop up and you got to deal with it. You know what I mean? I used to over medicate to not have to deal with it. I know how to get out of feeling like this. I'll just find oblivion any way possible. You know what I mean? And it's such a pathetic existence. And I'm so, but you said it. It's like you get liberated. It's like you realize like, oh, I don't have to, it's like somebody helped me off this merry-go-round. And then once you get off, like you go, oh man, this is much better over here. You know?
Yeah. And now that I've learned I can do that, Brian, it's about what can I do next? Yeah. And what's next for me is to help everybody I can help not go through what I went through. Man. I want to be able to look at me or whoever's like me and say, listen, bro, I can show you a lot better way to do this, man. Yeah. I can show you a logical, a lot more healthy, better way to do this instead of you spending the next 20 years of your life juggling doctors, juggling pharmacies, and juggling with your life. Yeah. I can show you a way to do it and come out successful, rich, and just be so much healthy, more happy.
Yeah. Well, it turned into. Look, and I think age has a lot to do with a lot of stuff too. You know what I mean? Like you do come to the realization at some point, like I should really stop doing this when I wake up in the morning and have to pick up my grandchild from, I don't think I had grandkids at then when I was using, but I dang sure took my kid to school all the time. Took my kids to pick up my script all the time.
Absolutely.
Look, Father of the Year, that wasn't me. You know what I mean? No. But I promise you this, I'm going to try to be the best damn grandfather I've ever been, you've ever seen, because that's all I can do is from here forward. I can't do nothing about yesterday. And so let's joke about it. Let's have a good time. But we move forward, man. And that's all we got to do. Casio, you were going to say something about how awesome I was earlier, and I interrupted you. Go ahead.
You're fantastic. Here's what I want to talk about. You talking because you brought up friend circle and how that has changed, and that's how your future is. Look around and see your friends. You had a great interview, by the way. Shout out to the guys over at 83 Weeks. Eric Bischoff and Conrad Thompson had you on, and We just saw you on there, and it was fantastic and good to see you. But I noticed when you tweeted about it, you said, "Hey, he hadn't given up on me yet." So I wanted to ask you, what is that friend circle like? I know it might seem like a scary thing when they, I'm getting sober. I'm going to lose my friends that I used to hang out with, and maybe I'm not as cool to some of them, so they don't want to hang out with me. So I just want to ask what it's like now. What is that friendship circle like, and how has those people from your past started treating you?
Well, first of all, you got to realize what you're asking is probably the very hardest thing to do. The very hardest thing to do is to re-pick who your friends are, who you're going to be hanging out with, because that's what we do. We find people that we're comfortable with, and misery likes company. And so the drunk guys ride together, the guys that work out ride together in the day, guys that do drugs ride together, guys that smoke cigarettes ride together. So the same thing with your friends, no doubt about it. It's the exact same thing. And what happened to me is I was very lucky to have an incredible support team. And where my support team actually started was with my niece. My niece is somebody that's extremely special to me. She was young enough to, thank God, remember how Marcus Alexander Bagwell, what a great guy Marcus Alexander Bagwell was. Marcus Alexander Bagwell, her uncle, was, my brother is her father, and he just dropped the ball with Jonna, and I was there to pick it up, man. So she was kind of like my daughter, even though she's my niece. So that's where my support team started with all of this. And then when she got in with Dallas and Steve Yu and got together with those guys, and they all dove in together, my support team was already kind of built. And man, I saw throughout this journey that a support team is one of the most crucial things, because again, look around. If you don't like what you're looking at, you not like looking at the mirror, because you're looking at yourself. So when I look around, it's Diamond Dallas Page, it's Lex Luger, it's Mark Merrow, it's Steve Yu, it's my niece, it's my niece's husband. It's good, solid people that are around me, man. And that's what it takes, because when you go to pick up the phone, if you don't have somebody good to call, then there's going to be temptation. There's going to be all kind of stuff coming at you, man. So that immediate circle is gigantic. And I never overlooked that. I never thought to myself like, support team's not important. I knew it was important, but it was really vital to have that direct support team that you had to go to, because Steve Yu and me have connected in a way that there's no way to explain it. He's became my best friend. He's became my brother. He's became everything to me that somebody would want in a friend of any kind, a family member. He's as close as you can get to me. We're together 15 hours a day. Every day.
Spiritual.
Yeah, spiritually, every direction you can go, we go. We talk about things that nobody else can talk about, because we just have it together. And what I'm saying is it's really hard to do, but you've got to find that initial support team. And if you take time to find the initial group that's right before you, good things start happening. And that's what happened with me. You just automatically, Lex is there, which he's always been, but not to the capacity of how he's now. He's a force, man. He's a force. Lex is so powerful, and he's always been powerful in every category. But now, the force he brings now with his religion and his spirituality is off the marks, man. I mean, this is a guy that was the total package, Lex Luger, and 260 with a 10-pack. He was a force. Now he's a force just because of the force that he is among himself. He don't got to look like a force. He is a force.
Did you ever see?
So powerful.
You ever see Game of Thrones? Remember the dude, the three-eyed raven that ended up being the king at the end? That's Lex. Lex is the king. You know what I mean? At the end, he's the wise one. And he always has been. I remember one time, he probably wanted to beat me up so many times, bless his heart. One time I was pilled up, of course, and we were like in a place, and Lex had ordered a pizza. I had ordered a pizza. It was like in Pittsburgh up on a hill. Everybody went to it. And I saw a pizza come up, and I saw Lex take a bite of it. Well, I thought it was my pizza. And I was inebriated. And so I went to cussing everybody in the club because I was tipsy. And the guys came over and said, "Sir, that's his pizza. He ordered." I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I just went away. And like, I don't think I've ever like looked at Lex in the eye and said, I'm sorry about that, dude. And he may not
Yeah.
even remember it, but it is a thing. Like I remember that because I was wrong and I was an a-hole. And I think it was, I know it was because I was inebriated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Well,
my
Lex
mama
don't
didn't
like-
raise me
Lex
like
don't-
that.
Yeah, Lex don't like me talking about a lot of stories about him, but to me, that's what makes his transition so powerful is, Lex Luger, to go up and even speak to Lex Luger in the day, you better really be on your P's and Q's, bro, because you're going to get set right back down in your seat real quickly.
Yeah.
And
Just
I remember
being next
waiting
to
work
him,
out with him.
being next to him was humbling, right? It was an act in humility.
You just automatically, you just knew your lane, and you better know it because you're with the total package, like Luger. And so we're working out together one day, and this guy's, I'm waiting for him to work out, and I'm like going, God, come on, Lex. And of all things, we're doing chest and try, and he's stretching his hamstring. So I'm like, what is he doing back
He looked
there? So
good.
he's stretching his hand.
He looked really good doing it.
Oh, he looks like he's like $1 million. He's back there. He's stretching his leg, and I'm like, what's he stretching his hamstring for? So finally, this guy in the gym goes, hey, Lex. And I'm looking at Lex right here, and the guy's behind me, and I'm looking at Lex's face, and Lex looks at me, and he goes, are you talking to me? Oh. And I'm getting lower and lower in the couch, but the guy's right back here. And I'm getting lower and lower, and Lex goes, and the guy goes, yeah. And he goes, my friends call me Lex. He goes, and you're not my friend. And I just went, I got underneath the couch.
Yeah, I'll be under here if you need me.
Yeah,
I'll be in the tanning bed.
You didn't speak to Lex unless you knew him, So it just took he's a force to reckon with, man. He just was.
Yes, my lord. Yes, my
Yes.
lord.
I'm going to start calling you Marcus for the rest of the show, just in case. No more buff. I don't want to get the Lex treatment.
I'm all good.
Dog, let's take just a second to tell everybody about Jimmy's Famous Seafood. You know our boy Buff Bagwell knows about Jimmy's Famous Seafood as well, because all the boys that stop in Baltimore, they go eat at Jimmy's Famous Seafood. It's a destination place, but the best part about it is they now ship food nationwide. That's right. You can get it to your front door. Free 2-day nationwide shipping on orders of over $125, excluding the steamed crabs and the fresh items. All you got to do is use the code DOGG. That's right. Use promo code DOG, and you get free 2-day nationwide shipping on orders of over $125. They've, of course, got the huge Maryland crab cakes, the soups, the chowders, the oysters, signature steaks as well. Plus, they've got gluten-free items. They've got it for everybody. And right now, they've even got the Mardi Gras bundle. Yeah, it is that time of year. And Jimmy's Famous Seafood's taking care of your Mardi Gras party. You can feast on this. How about this Mardi Gras bundle? A quart of white rice. You get the gumbo. You get 6 mini blackened crab cakes. You get a king cake. You get some crawfish mac and cheese as well. They've got it all. They've got the tailgate packs. They've got the desserts as well, from top to bottom, appetizers to desserts and everything in between you can think of. Jimmy's Famous Seafood has it, my friends. Over 40 years in the business, they've been featured on diners, dine-ins, and drives, Beat Bobby Flay, and more. You know about Jimmy's Famous Seafood. Maybe you haven't been able to get to Baltimore. Now, Jimmy's Famous Seafood can get to you. So one more time, go to jimmysfamousseafood.com and you'll get free 2-day nationwide shipping on orders of over $125. All you got to do is use the promo code DOGG at checkout. And we thank Jimmy's Famous Seafood for sponsoring Oh You Didn't Know.
Yeah, so again, that's where we're at. What do you want to do? Buff, do you mind me asking how old you are?
I'm 53.
Okay, so am I. I'm 53 as well. Casio is 54, I think.
Yeah, 54.
So what do you want to do now? What do you want to do next?
What I want to do next is I want to pay back what I have learned. I want to share with as many people as I can on a really big stage that how you can take this addiction and turn it into something very, very good in your life. And I know that I've got the tools and the platforms to do that.
Yeah.
And, you know, to get ready to do something like that, you can't do something like that until you are 100% ready. You're 100% comfortable. And you got to just know what you're talking about from your heart and your soul before you do, because you're getting ready to start affecting people's lives.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's a way, by paying it forward, is a way for yourself to stay strong and to stay sober as well.
Amen.
Because it's a payback thing. And, you know, AA is the same kind of thing. You know, the guy that started AA, Bill W., you know, he was able to help other drunks. And by helping other drunks is what kept him sober.
Right.
So that transition over the years is exactly what's happened with every single AA, NA, HA. There's Cocaine Anonymous, Heroin Anonymous.
Yeah.
There's every kind of anonymous now, and every one of them has got a good reason for being there, and all of them have got the same platform, which is helping another person do this, what you've done. Not a lot of people can say they have 5 months of sobriety and be honest about it. There's not many people that can do that. There's people that can say 10 years, but there's just not a lot, man. And I found that out. That means that nobody has figured this out yet. Nobody has. So I feel like with the tools I've been given for the first time, I feel like I can help somebody. So why would I not want to share what I have learned to be able to stay sober, not 5 minutes, not 5 days, but for 5 months? And I think by doing that, I know that it'll be so self-gratifying. It's just, who don't want to help somebody? Who don't feel good about helping somebody? Every day I try to do something that pays something positive forward. And whether if it's saying hello to somebody at a gas station, hey man, how's it going, bro? Hey, I like your car. You know, anything positive, that just shows that you're in a good spot, man. And that will go on from not just there, but to anybody you talk to. If you reach out and just share a few minutes of your time with somebody, even a few seconds, it's amazing how much you will get back for that. It does come back, and it comes back so much more glamorous. It's unbelievable how it does come back to you.
So I was sitting in Waffle House today with my wife, and we were talking about, you got money? Do you have money? I don't have any money. I didn't have any money. And I opened my wallet, and it was not $1 in my wallet. And I said, I've never been happier in my life, and I don't have $1 to my name. And I really didn't. I didn't have $1 in my pocket. Look, thank God she had the credit card, and we got out of there scot-free, because she's not very fast. And so if we were going to skedaddle, I was going to end up paying anyway. Just threw her through the plate glass window. So I totally forgot what we were talking about.
Well, let me tell you where we were at. I'm gonna finish it up, because where it continues from here is, not only do I want to do that, but at the same time, I'd be a complete liar to not say that I would love to be in the wrestling business still. I mean, I do signings and autographs and do, you know, I go to shows and stuff like that. But to be able to be part of something really big again, I'd be lying to everybody in the world out there saying that I don't want to be part of that again. I do. I'm 53 years young in the wrestling business, bro. I mean, I knew years ago with coming in this business at 20 years old. Now, wrap your head around that for a second. At 20 years old, I'm in the dressing room with Dusty Rhodes, you know, Sting, Luger. I mean, it's just Ricky Steamboats, Rick Rudes. I mean, Jake the Snake Roberts. I mean, it's just Van Vader's. I mean, it just goes on and on to the point you got to think, I must be kind of in the right place here. I mean, look at this, look at the locker room, right? So that feeling is something that, of course, everybody wants again, because it's so successful of a feeling. So I would be lying if I said that I didn't say I did not want to be part of pro wrestling again. I definitely do. I definitely would like to get back in the ring again.
Really?
And at 53, I think it's possible, but that's down the road. Right now, my thing is stay sober, be where I'm at with my walk of sobriety and recovery. I want to pass my word along. I'm starting to speaking. I start my speaking engagements next month,
Awesome.
and we're going to go out and have I want to be a keynote speaker on sobriety.
Yeah.
And
Amen.
that's exactly what I'm going to do. And then from there, whatever doors may open, but I do want to dive back in the world of wrestling. If I could do anything that I want to do in pro wrestling, I would want to be somewhere where I teach younger guys.
Yeah.
But that's something that's way down the road. I just love pro wrestling, always have, and just want to be part of it again, some way, shape, form, or fashion. But right now, my whole thought and my whole drive toward everything is sobriety.
Yeah. Amen. And look, if it's not the focus, you won't stay sober. You know what I mean? Like that's what I learned is once I got to continue. I got to stay plugged in. I got a fellowship. That's what you talked about earlier with your circle. And you gotta you live what's put in your head, right? And so if you're putting crazy stuff in your head, you're gonna live crazy. If all these people around you, like my wife, for the love of the Lord, I spent so long thinking I don't even know. It breaks my heart to say I don't know what love was, and I treated her horribly, and I can't get that back. She had my best interest at heart the whole time. You know what I mean? It's just like with you talked about God earlier. And look, I want to say too, I'm sure there's a lot of secular people that watch this or listen to this, and this isn't. I don't want to come across as preachy, but look, I think Buff and I have the same core beliefs. And look, if we're wrong, when I get to heaven, I'll ask him. And if y'all are right, no big deal. But I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing because Georgia won the national championship, so I know prayers work.
That's right.
No, I'm still alive. So I know prayers work. There's a song out right now by Morgan Wallen that's I Thought You Should Know, and it talks about the prayers that his mom's been losing sleep since '93, and the prayers he wanted her to know that the prayers finally got through because things are all right now. And man, that's what it's a joke. I joke, but it's don't worry, be happy. Don't worry, be happy, because everything's gonna be okay. And man,
it is.
That
and
was
honestly,
a crazy thought.
Brian, as good, and as good as I do it. And there's so many guys that can say this, but I can look at you guys, and I mean, there's no doubt, even you guys can agree to this. I should be dead.
Oh.
I ran through a $200,000 building in my car, and I wasn't there. So I mean, I was there, but I wasn't there. And so, that's just one of my cat lives. I mean, it ain't something to brag on. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, but it's a fact. And it's your experience, strength, and hope. And that's the difference. That's why you talking to me about what you've been through has weight. You talking to me about something you ain't never been through, I don't give a crap what you're saying. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm not listening to you anymore. Blah, 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 blah.
So I'm really excited about the future, man. Sobriety has done everything that I didn't think it was going to do. It has proven me wrong. All the things I thought I couldn't do it for, thank God, proved me wrong. From sleeping to in person going and do something. I went to the Georgia. I was at the Georgia Bulldog Ohio State game at the Citrus Bowl, and it was the Chick-fil-A Bowl, I think, right, Steve? Chick-fil-A Bowl, and man, that was really the national championship. Ohio State and Georgia, 42-41. That was really the main event to me. But it was a great game and all that. But to do that and to remember the whole thing and be coherent, I mean, I try to wrap my head around going to that game that night, and to be there and do it and go through it. It was just unbelievable that I did it was not worrying about anything, not being down there watching the game and wondering how I was going to get my next beer to kick in the 2 somas I just took.
And I can't believe you just took 2.
It was such a relief.
Yeah, it is. It's liberating, right? It is.
Yes.
It's like literally taking the handcuffs off of you, and you go like, "Oh, this is what you guys do? This is how y'all been doing it? This is cool. I wish I wasn't 53 when I thought about it." but you know what I mean? That's where we're at, dude. And that's where you start, right? Where else you going to start? And I want to say this too, because I think, look, you and I always remember early on, Ace Ventura was out, and we would always do the Ace Ventura stuff. And I'm not going to ask anybody to do it now, but I just, a great sense of humor. And a lot of people think about, if I get sober, how will I have fun? And like, it's not, you're still you, you're actually a better you, and you have more fun and doing things that are constructive and not destructive. So I don't know. I just want to make sure people know that it doesn't, when you stop doing dope, you stop being one. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Exactly
Maybe there's a t-shirt there somewhere. Jot that down.
Buff, when you look back on it, and maybe not an exact moment, but just a time period, when do you think it started, now that you can see it maybe clearer from that, 50,000 foot view or whatever it is? When do you look back now when it started getting out of control for you?
I really did. It was, throughout the early 90s, a great leash is what I call it, was WCW. You can't have a better leash than a great job that pays great money. And WCW was that leash. So, we dabbled and we had pills and we took pills, but literally, I don't think I had my own prescription of pills until I broke my neck. I broke my neck in April of '98. And when I did that, I remember getting Loratabs and Somas. And when I look back on that, that is definitely the start of my addiction.
Yeah.
And like I said, it was that leash is what kept the addiction away and kept us, functioning addicts. But when that set in, that was actually the start of me going, me starting to get my pills and making sure every 30 days I had enough, and whether you were short. And that's when the counting and money was no problem for me or Brian, but at that stage. And so that was not a problem, but keeping up with doctors in 30 days and this pharmacy and that doctor, man, it was just such a juggling act. It was just brutal. But that's when mine started, because the big thing with drug addicts are you want to be able to say, I'm not doing anything wrong. And that's what I was able to do, because I was Buff Bagwell. I was rich. I had a mansion. I had the cars. I had my motorcycles. I was in shape to the umph degree. I had no thing that wasn't done properly. So it's time to get messed up. That's what it does. It gives you the okay. So there's no shame. You can't beat yourself up over nothing to beat yourself up over. I've got it licked. I'm doing well. So I can do this and not beat myself up over it. And that's what happened. It was my parents. My mom saw that I had a problem, of course, and she was like, my dad was called Big Steve. She's like, Big Steve, you gotta talk to Mark. You gotta tell him. And he's like, what do you mean to say to him? He looks great. He's rich. He's a pro wrestler on TV. His oil changes are perfect on his cars. His motorcycles just got washed. He goes, and we work for him. What do you mean say to him? You're doing wrong?
What shall I say?
What am I going to tell the kid?
Yeah.
So they tried to show me how much money I was spending, and that didn't work. So it just kind of went away till finally when WCW leash was off. That's when it was wide open, man. That's when depression from WCW being gone and independence started, man. And it just, from that point on, man, it was kind of like a reckless, train that I held on to the best I could, man. But it just was in and out of rehab after that. I did 4 or 5 rehabs. But this time, like Brian said, man, it was time. I was ready to be sober this time. So when you're ready, you're never going to get sober until you're ready yourself. No matter what you're trying to do it for, money's not enough, a job's not enough, your wife is not enough, your life is not enough. but when you're ready, that is enough. And that's what it takes. And that's what it took this time. And I was ready.
Yeah, amen, Buff. Hey, I totally forgot what I was going to say, but I'm just happy to hear your voice and I see the sunlight of the spirit, and it's just really cool. I want to touch base on the aspect of communication, and I know a lot of young men especially don't share their feelings. Look, I nowadays they're a lot better than they were in our days. I dang sure didn't talk to my dad a whole lot about how I was feeling, and if I did, I would have probably got hit or something. But that's just it was the 80s. They were rough then, but like so now. We're getting to talk about mental health. We're getting to talk about, and I think people are scared to talk about their feelings, to be quite honest with you, because that's all therapy is, right? And now you got everybody telling you should go to therapy. I told my daughter, you should go to therapy. Like it's what it does is it's an opportunity, and I would imagine, Buff, that this is what Steve, I think you were calling him, does for you. It's communication, man. And it's not just me communicating inside my head. It's having a sounding board that when I go, hey, I'm thinking of doing this, they go, well, that's probably the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. So you should, you know what I mean? And so to have that communication is the key, not to lock everything up inside. Yeah.
Communication is absolutely the key. And that was always my biggest thing was, man, you got to talk about it. You just got to. The people that hold it in, it's so bad to do. It's no different, Brian, than you used to go to the doctor. And the last thing you would tell the doctor is something about, don't give me any pain pills because I'm hooked on those. You're not gonna tell on yourself because you're there to try to get pain pills.
Right.
What you do when you really are trying to be a good person is you do lay it out there.
Yeah.
You lay it out there like, hey, bro, here's what I'm feeling today. I'm overwhelmed today, Steve. I need to talk about it. Yeah. And we'll sit down and we will talk about why I'm feeling overwhelmed. And that is priceless, man. But you hear me, if you haven't heard me say anything, you do need to talk, because exactly what you said a minute ago about opposite. Dallas Page used to tell me, he goes, listen, man, do me a favor. I go, what? He goes, when you feel like you're getting ready to do something and you're focusing in on what you're doing and you finally decide exactly what you're going to do, he goes, do the opposite. And think about it.
What a kick in the niggity niz.
I mean, a chick, right in the teeth, man.
Yeah.
Boom.
And you just go
but he's right.
He's 100% right.
Do the opposite, Bagwell.
Yeah, and that's hard to accept. That, but again, look, 53-year-old Southern gentlemen, we're learning how to share our feelings. First, we're learning that it's okay to do that. Then we're learning, like, oh, can I talk to everybody about that? Is it cool to, you know what I mean? So it's a whole new way of living my life with open, honest communication. It's very foreign to me, but it's very key.
But it also keeps you accountable.
Yeah, amen.
It keeps me accountable to know, hey, here I am, here's what I'm feeling, and here's what's going on. Because that keeps me accountable. Now, I don't do it for that reason. I do it because I want to communicate, and I know I will be a better person if I share what's going on with me. But what comes out of it is a better life.
All right, by now, guys, you know I love talking about old wrestling. What you might not know is it's not my real passion. My real passion is helping people save money. My real passion is getting families out of apartments and into houses. My real passion is getting people's finances aligned so they can retire on time. I hated going to Walmart and seeing the greeter being 80 years old. She should not be working. She should be home. Why is she still working? Because she still has a mortgage. I want to help avoid that for you. The other thing I want to help you with, let's make sure your kids don't get saddled with student loans. If you've got a student loan, why did you get one? Maybe because your parents still had a mortgage. I'm not saying that to be funny. I'm being sincere. There's only so much money to go around. What I want to help you do is figure out where you are right now and where you want to be long term. And I do it at SaveWithConrad.com. I've been doing mortgages for more than 20 years. And during all that time, we've helped tens of thousands of families change their life. I mean, routinely, we're helping our podcast listeners save $500, $600, $700, $800 a month. But more importantly, get them out of debt faster and with cheaper monthly payments. But if you don't think it can happen for you, let me just tell you this. We are not the bank. We don't say no. We say not yet, but here's how. We're going to get you a game plan on how to improve your credit, how to save a little bit of cash, and how to get into that dream house. Maybe you're already in the house, but it would be nice if someday we could put a pool in the back, or one day we want to upgrade to hardwood floors, or remodel the kitchen, or get a badass master bathroom. I can help you do all of that with no money out of pocket right now at SaveWithConrad.com. You don't need perfect credit. You don't need money out of your pocket. And if we can't help you save some cash, we won't waste your time. Check it out, SaveWithConrad.com, NMLS number 65084, equal housing lender. And hey, y'all, don't take my word for it. Check us out. We've got an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. And as if that's not enough, go look at our reviews. Read them and weep, haters. ConradReviews.com. You'll see more than 1,000 5-star reviews. Our average review is 4.72 stars. Find out how much money you can save. Take control of your life in 2023 by taking control of your finances. We're going to show you how to keep more of your own money. If you've got credit card debt, what are you paying on that? 14%? 28%? You know you can do better. With the mortgage, though, you may not know this, the interest you pay is tax deductible. And we can even show you how to skip your next 2 house payments. So if you can get a lower monthly payment, pay your debt off faster, get a greater tax deduction at the end of the year, and right now, right after the holidays, skip your next 2 payments, buddy, this is the biggest no-brainer in the history of the world. Find out how much money you can save right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com, or hey man, shoot me an email directly, Conrad@SaveWithConrad.com.
Yeah. Yeah, amen. And like we circle all the way back because we didn't know this kind of life was available to guys like us. And look, that's partly because we will hold our feelings in and not talk to anybody. And man, I've been married 26 years, just started talking to my wife. Turns out she's like she's got ideas and stuff too.
Yeah.
Feelings and like, holy mackerel, you've been there the whole time?
Yeah.
It's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah,
and I want to drag
right?
I want to drag myself out in the street and beat the crap out of myself for doing that. You know what I mean? But that's not going to get us anywhere either.
No.
So what can I do? And this is what I can do is I can talk to you about recovery, about communication, open, honest communication amongst dudes. You know what I mean? It's okay.
Let me also share in the hardest business in the world to be open in.
Oh yeah. And so that's what I was going to ask you. You got sober and then you had to go back out and do the signings and stuff. How was that for you? Was it tricky or
the very first week out of rehab was Anchorage, Alaska, and I got my 30-day chip in Alaska and Anchorage, Alaska.
That's a cool story, man.
I'll never forget that 30-day chip because I got it in Anchorage. But and then Dallas Page picked me up for my AA meeting. So I'll never forget that one. But man, right out of the gate, right off the bat, man, was a big long flight to Anchorage, and my biggest trigger is airplanes, man. I used to say I've never been sober on a flight in my life. So here I am having to fly to Anchorage.
I'm with you, man. That's a big thing for me too. And look, one time since I've been sober, my granddaughter, who's 6 now, she was 2 at the time, and she had an accident. Her renal valve busted, and so one of her kidneys died. She was like 2 years old, and I'm leaving to go on the road, and she's in the hospital with a tube down her throat and tape over her eyes with you know what I mean? Like it almost. And so anyway, I went to the airport from that hospital room, and I sat down and I thought, I know exactly what to do to not feel like this anymore. And I called somebody. I didn't act on it. I called somebody, and it was like, yeah, that was stupid. Why was I thinking that? You know what I mean? But that's where my first thought went.
Wait, you called somebody?
That's where our first thought goes.
Yes. I called somebody, but to say, hey, man, I just thought about going to the bar and getting hammered. And we talked about it. Well, what do you get? You're going to get fired from your job when you don't make it, right? You're going to get, you know what I mean? And we talked it through. And it's just get it outside your own head, because inside here is crazy. It's a crazy neighborhood. And so if I don't get stuff outside there and let other people hear it, I may be telling myself it's the will of God and going on about my business and getting off on the wrong exit. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So yeah, that open communication, man, is key. Casio, what you got?
Well, first of all, I just realized me and you, Dog, we should come back. We should be the American Whales, is what me and you should be.
Oh yeah, that's perfect.
American whales, American whales.
I want to see the
American
whales. The graphic is like the whales making a heart. You know what I mean?
We'll get it airbrushed like at the beach.
That's what we're doing. That's another T-shirt right there. American Whales. I love that.
So how's the knee? How are you physically? I know you said you want to get back in that wrestling business. Where is that compared to your mindset as well?
I just had great news yesterday. When they first looked at everything out of rehab, and keep in mind, I dove into my addiction because of the knee. So coming out of rehab, I really wanted to hear something really good and something new. And out of the gate, it was kind of bad news at first because the wounds looked so bad. And we were on basically just getting the wounds healed. And then from there, we would see. Well, we progressed now over the last 3 months of the wounds are like about a month away. 2 are completely gone and 2 got about a month left. And we just had a doctor's appointment yesterday that he did tell us that the first steps were going to be get rid of the wounds. The second step was going to be having to put a medicated rod in my leg.
Whoa.
Yeah. And the third step,
if I'd have known about that.
Yeah. The third step was a knee replacement. So that was the steps. And I was out of rehab now. I was extremely depressed. And I was like, oh my God, a rod? I mean, and they called it a spacer, but it was a rod. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, you gotta be kidding. So I tried to look on the bright side of it. And I said, I don't see why Mark Bagwell, the Mark Bagwell that I know, why I can't skip that second step. Why do we got to put a rod in my leg? So I didn't really tell nobody that, but I just held on to it. Yeah. Well, fast forward a couple of months is yesterday, and I go in, and the doctor's talking to me, and the wounds are almost healed. And he goes, look, man, he goes, we got to draw some blood out today. And if you don't have infection in your knee, he goes, we can go to the knee replacement. And I was like, yes. But I didn't say that. I was just like, inside, I was like, yes. So I said, okay, now, what if there is infection in my knee? He goes, if there is infection in your knee, then we do got to put a spacer in there of a medicated spacer, but it won't be a rod. It will be a one that you can bend your knee. Yeah. I don't have much range of motion in my knee. It's like I do have range of motion, but not much.
Yeah.
Anyway, he goes, it'll be like that, but it'll be a medicated movement thing, but it won't be a rod. Then they take the rod out, and then they do the knee replacement once they know the infection is totally gone. So tomorrow morning at 10:30, I go in and they draw out a syringe of blood out of my knee. 7 to 10 days from tomorrow, I find out is there infection or not. If there's not infection, I'm a knee replacement away from life again.
Oh, amen. Amen. Hey, who do you know that has new knees?
My niece's husband's father had one that started me on this journey right now of getting the right doctors, which led me to DDPY's doctors. But the first doctor I went to was just to break the ice, get something going. And knee replacements have become like hip replacements now. Yeah. They become like, Ed, which is Chip's father, 3 weeks after a knee replacement, he was playing golf.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Terry Taylor had both knees done, and he swears it's changed his life. And so
that's not what you used to hear with knees.
Yeah.
Hips were like that, but not knees. So now knees have kind of bumped it up. So man, if this one test comes back where there's no infection in my knee, I'm literally a few months away from starting a journey of getting back in the ring.
Amen. And I document that son of a gun too. Brought to you by Cheez-Its.
Hey, there's a camera on me when I'm going to the bathroom here, brother.
Well, they probably should keep that on you. They should probably still
For good
keep
reason.
it. Yeah, keep it on me too. Don't worry, I'll pee for you. I don't want you to pee for me, Jesus.
Yeah.
But Buff, what a great time we had. I wish, look, and again, I wish I wouldn't have been high all the time. You know what I mean? But I was, and so that's that. And now,
Yeah, I
Pontius
wouldn't
Pilate.
I don't regret none of it, man. Everything happens for a reason.
Amen.
And the bottom line is we had an absolute blast. There's nobody that can look back on what we did and not go, man, that was so much fun. Now, what we did out of it by not having the right balance, we made some mistakes, but we still would not go back and regret what we did and how much fun we had, man. It was off the charts. We did not stop laughing the entire time being together, bro.
That's the truth. Yeah,
and
that's
it was
the
just
truth.
a funny, and of all things, I was going to tell you, Slick wanted me to tell you, hey,
Oh, yes. How is he doing?
we just laughed for an hour straight before I came on this show. I mean,
I'm so
he's
jealous.
the funniest. He's that guy in me he used to live in my house.
Yeah.
We didn't stop laughing, bro.
Man, do you know he's talking about Casio? Slick, the referee?
Yes.
Yeah.
Jared speaks fondly of him as well.
Oh, he's such a great guy, man, on the
Hey,
live
Jared's who stole him from me.
Yeah, yes, he sure
really?
did. He sure
That was my boy. I got Johnson in the business. He's at home at my house, living with me, just a boat full of talent, and didn't know what to do, man. He just didn't know what to do. And Bischoff came to us one day and goes, "Hey, man, y'all got anybody that can be like the NWO referee?" And I was like, "I live with him."
the guy lives with me. And he's in incredible shape. He's a good-looking dude.
Yeah. The next day, he was the NWO rep, and then Jarrett and him started being buddies, and man, Jarrett stole him, and he was a great steal, though. It was like stealing my girlfriend.
It was. Jeff stole your male rat. Dude.
Really?
That's horrible. I'm sorry I said that. Look, the American Whales, for sure. We're going to make a T-shirt for that.
Hey, we can go against the American Males on Buff's tag team match. We can do that.
I like it.
We can get it done.
Buff, Jeff's 55, Jeff Jarrett. And,
I know, bro.
Look he's in great shape right now, man. And killing it. Yeah.
He's called me a couple of times, and you know how tight you and Jeff were.
Yeah.
And Jeff always, he saw the Mark Bagwell that a lot of guys didn't see, Brian.
Yep.
And I respect that, and I thank you guys so much for seeing the Mark Bagwell that the other guys just kind of, heard some rumors and judged me a certain way, but you guys actually knew me and knew the stuff you were hearing wasn't as bad as true as it was.
Yeah, of course. And look, that's sad but true. That's the way of the world,
Yes,
right? It's clicky
it
and there's groups and there's politics and all of the above. And so, right, wrong, or indifferent, we damn sure had a good time. That's for sure.
Wouldn't take it back for the world.
No, not in a million years. What were you going to say, Casio?
Well, I wanted to say we brought him up a couple times, and down in Dallas Page, he gets some grief, he gets some jokes sometimes, but he has literally changed people's life, and
for the better.
I had to roast him at the match, and I had to apologize after. He's like, "Man, I've heard everything you can possibly throw at me," but he's just that guy that has the best attitude you could ever find.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to give you a chance, since you brought him up a couple times, just brag on him and talk about how much he has changed your life.
Well, Dallas, man, we go back. You got to realize we go back to Rookie of the Year against each other. He was 36,
Wow.
I was 20. So, but Rookie of the Year, and I'm like, man, if this old guy beats me at Rookie of the Year, I'm gonna kill myself. Well. Fast forward, me and Dallas become great friends, and we were in the business together, and we knew we were two of the kind because we were two of the guys that cared about fans and would sign 8x10s and take time with autographs, and Dallas was like that too, and he was pretty amazed that somebody like me, a younger guy, was really into his fans like I was, so we really hit it off from the start, and Dallas always loved me, but the simple facts about Dallas is real easy. He got rich in two things that not one person, that everybody told him he wasn't going to do it in.
Yeah.
And he got rich in wrestling with everybody telling him, you can't do this. And I mean everybody.
Yeah.
And then he got rich in yoga, something that me and Lex Luger stood outside the ring and heckled him about. We were like, you are an idiot. What are you doing? And he turned both those around, and not just was successful, he got rich off both of them. And now he saves people's lives. and gets a reward from it. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I mean, all you got to do is watch that one Arthur video.
Yes.
And now there's 100 of those videos that people need saved lives.
Yeah.
There's a life that gets saved at this PC almost every day because of DDPY.
Yeah. That's the truth, man. And look, that's what, my mom used to say, you can never be closer to God if you're doing something for somebody else. You get outside yourself and you do something for somebody else. And that's what he's been doing for 2 decades now.
Yes.
And I think it's funny that you were heckling him because, look, he probably just put his leg up behind his head and turned around and said, I'm counting my money. You know what I mean? But
Yes.
truth be told, he was a visionary, you know what I mean? And his positivity, and I don't know, man, he's bottled it up nicely, and it smells good, and it smells like money.
It does. He's done a great job at it. And like I said, and what he's done with all of it by just being a great person.
Yeah.
And everybody around him. He don't have employees. He has family members.
Well, if he was phony, people would have seen through it already. But they know he's the real deal. He's genuine. He really is saving people's lives and really helping people. And they see that. And that makes him more attractive. You know what I mean?
Just think about going along with making it in WCW or making it in the wrestling business, and everybody told him no. Yeah. Making it in yoga, and everybody told him he was crazy. And then trying to save Jake the Snake Roberts' life.
Wow. Hey, that's a full-time job right there.
That's 3 strikes and you're out in any other world, except it was 3 home runs, and he did it all. So his resume just speaks for itself.
Yeah, it does. And look, he's rich in so many ways, and not just monetarily, because he is rewarded. And I know he feels that, even though that's not why he does what he does. It's out of the goodness of his heart, man. And you said it.
Yes.
He's accomplished some things that people said were impossible. And so that goes to show you that nothing's impossible, man. It's mind over matter. And it's about choices. We talked about it's until you're ready, but you also talked about we didn't know that was out there for us. So if we as a generation of lug nuts that kind of went through it all can be voice their experience, strength, and hope, maybe some people don't have to go through it like that. I pray that works that way. You know what I mean?
That's where I come in right there. That's where I come in, and I'm excited about it. And I just have got to where I know that I can save lives, and I'm going to.
Amen. I'm gonna let you go with that one right there, because that was a cool outline. And look, I believe you, Buff. I believe you can. You got the platforms, and you're Buff the Stuff Bagwell. That matters. You know what I mean? Yes. Just like it mattered when you landed in such and such, and the guy picked you up and said, "I got this. I know a guy we can get this." It matters now to people who want to hear the good. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And that's where you're at right now, and it's so inspiring and so motivating. I just thank God that you came on here with us today, man. And you know what I would like to do if you have 1 minute. I'd like we do a thing on here called the Thankful Minute, and I'd like to give my minute to you. I usually just bogart and just steal the whole minute and not let Casio share. But the whole minute is going to go to you. Just things you're thankful for.
First off, before we start the timer, I do want to say wrestling fans are very supportive. And so I want to make sure, how can they support Marcus Bagwell? Follow you on the socials as well, but how can they support you right now? Cameos, I know, is a thing in your life. What else is going on?
Well, the best way to get in touch with me is real simple. Is go to MarcusBuffBagwell.com. If you go to MarcusBuffBagwell.com, you can go to all my platforms. You can go to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that, Cameos, all that stuff. So just go to MarcusBuffBagwell.com, man, and you can find Buff Daddy.
Look, I speak for a lot of us. I hope to be there when you're in the ring with that top hat on again, man. I'll be raising the roof with you, brother, cheering it on, man. This has been fantastic. And yes, We're ending the show with a thankful minute. I don't know if our producer's ready, but if he is, we put 60 seconds on the clock, Buff, and you can say thanks for anything you want to. Marcus, are you ready? Start the clock, brother.
Okay, first of all, I'm thankful for God, man. I'm thankful for God just because without him, to me, there's no other way. I'm thankful for Diamond Dallas Page. I'm thankful for everything DDPY has done. I'm thankful for my niece, Jonna. I'm thankful for her family. That's really kept me really dialed in to what I'm shooting for with family. That's really showed me her children and the birth of her child. And that's been a big deal to me with Jonna's family. Steve Yu has been a huge part to my whole success of sobriety and recovery. He's been the whole Chioda behind my success, and thank God for him. You know, my family, even though it's been a rocky road a long time, me and my father are now talking again, and that's a great thing. And me and my brothers are talking again too. I'm very thankful for that. Family is a big deal.
Amen.
That's what I mean.
Amen, man.
Awesome,
Look
man.
at you. It's like old school. That's one take, right on time. We're booking the towns. He's coming. Buff, the stuff's coming to Columbus, Georgia, baby.
Hey, look,
Hey.
you are a legend. I'm from Gadsden. To this day, right down the road is Albertville, Alabama. You're going to think I'm making it up. I should take a picture.
No, you're not, because I've wrestled there right by Boaz.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
They have the wooden sign that they've spray painted Buff Bagwell this weekend and Midget Wrestling next weekend, and they never take it down, dog. They never take it down.
No,
It's got
there's
a
a chance he's going
flashlight. It's got a flashlight on it.
It does. It's got a flashlight on it.
Hey,
I've
Boaz,
passed that
baby.
1
Mickey
million
Henry.
times.
Look,
Mickey Henry.
I'll shout out Mickey Henry on my podcast. I got no problem
You
doing
think I'm embarrassed to shout out Mickey Henry the Hammer?
Oh, I love it. Hey, Buff.
The Hammer, baby.
I know you got to go. I
Yes.
just want to say thanks so much, man, for
Yeah.
coming on here and for sharing your positivity and just I know the world is a better place with a sober Marcus Alexander Bagwell in it. And so again, I proud of you, dude, and I can't thank you enough for coming on here and spending your time.
Man, I
time.
really enjoy. I was really excited about it, and thank you guys so much for letting me just come on and just talk to you guys a little bit and just tell everybody where I'm at, man. Thanks so much.
Amen. All right, Casio, I don't know how to do this, so
Follow,
we just-
like, subscribe. Let us know what you thought about it. Follow Marcus Bagwell on social media. Tell him thank you for coming on and sharing his story
Amen.
with us today. Buff, we thank you. Dog, it was fun. My man, I think it was everything we wanted and more as soon as we heard we
Indeed.
could get Buff the Stuff on the show today. So
Amen.
we appreciate it, everybody. Go follow us online. And look, if you didn't like today's show, we got 2 words for you.
Suck it.
Yeah.
Why did you laugh like that?